Hey team, this is Dr. Dickerson, and it is that time again for the third part in our three-part series, Getting the Skinny on Semaglutide. Um, this one's going to be maximizing results. The key is just going to be is what are we going to make sure that we do to protect this investment and to meet our weight loss goals. So without further ado, let's get things started. So webinar one was how the medication worked. We got a nice overview of that. The second one is where we compared the different types of weight loss medication. And then lastly, we are now going to talk about in a very short, time frame, how can we get an overview how to set ourselves up for success. So real quick, medication weight loss management, how do they work? It's pretty easy. We want to promote a negative energy balance, which is that one all the way down at the bottom. We want to burn up more than we take in, so therefore we get a reduction. And you can see, of course, the depiction of if we're even or we are maintaining. But more importantly, we want to take that middle one where there's a positive energy balance and turn it into a negative energy balance. So real quick, these are the categories of how weight loss drugs work. The first one is for those that reduce hunger. The other one is how do we get that feeling that we're full, but not so full that we're uncomfortable. We have some medications that decrease absorption, like fat or extra calories. We have other medications that increase energy expenditure. And we even have some that stimulate activity by fidgeting. You can also stimulate activity, of course, by being active and exercising, or those things that increase our metabolic rate. So congratulations already for you guys out there for your quick fixes, something to get you started with your maintenance program, especially if you're on your semaglutide. And that's rule number one, do not start any exercises if you're not already on an exercise program. We want to make sure we maximize success. We want you to feel confident in what you're doing. We want to see the shrinkage factor of the clothes, the jacket feeling better, tightening up the belt. If you're on an exercise program, please continue to maintain that, but we don't want you to do anything more, if you will. And one thing that we don't talk about is our recovery, if you will, and that includes that rest-sleep combination. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to sleep for 8 hours. This is, once again, a guideline. It allows us to say, hey, consider, resting. So if you're winding down in the bed, you're reading a book, you're chilling out listening to this lecture, all this can be a part of your resting, part of your day. So just drink it. Let's talk about hydration. The coffee or the tea, how much you drink. Once again, this is a guideline. So we kind of give you an estimate of about 3 cups a day of either coffee or iced tea, 8 ounces. We definitely don't want that calorie sweetener of sugar. We want something like stevia, which you can use as much as you like. Doc, what about diet drinks? What about diet soda? Well, the tough thing about diet soda, it does have an artificial sweetener that unfortunately stimulates some of those food urges, if you will, and those sugar urges. So we really want you to stay away from the diet sodas. However, baby steps lead to bigger steps and more baby steps. So if you're going from 6 Diet Cokes, a day down to 2, down to 1, hey, those are the steps that we want and the inertia that we want to build up. And what about the water? Hey, those individuals who have it at their desk that are consuming the water, throughout the day, get the best results. The water provides the hydration and what it needs to essentially burn off calories. And how much do you do? Hey, make sure you're doing enough so you're peeing, when you go to the bathroom, at least clear or near clear. Keep hitting this thing too much, so let's slow it down. Okay, so hey, the spice of life. There is no question that when you are preparing your meals, that minimizes, and stops the use of that processed food. We want you to experiment. We want you to try them. The spicier the food, believe it or not, the more calories that are burned off. And it's okay to actually try combinations in the store that you see. Just make sure we are staying away from any added sugar, if you will, whether it's salt or low salt. All those are a great option. Artificial sweeteners, once again, support sugar addiction pathways for food addiction. So we do want to stay away from those. Now, here's my favorite, the zero for the zeros. The one thing that we want to do first and foremost is zero dairy to minimize the inflammatory process of the dairy. We want to decrease 0 calorie containing liquids, and that includes the beer or the alcohol. Those are empty calories. But once again, everything in moderation, guys. This is a guide. We want to basically get you to there. So little baby steps give you more baby steps and bigger steps. And most importantly, the processed food. Let's stay away from those. That's anything you're throwing in a microwave, anything that's already prepared, anything that's already frozen, if you will, and of course, anything that they're handing through a drive-through. So, Doc, where do I start? If I wanted to have something tomorrow, what can I get going with my semaglutide and setting me up for success? So you'll see that some of these nutrition quick starts are very similar to some of the things that you started when those individuals who've done the HCG protocol. But there is a method to the madness. But once again, well, can we use fasting? Can we use keto? All of those things are fine. The question is not so much that you have, this dream of gaining this ideal goal weight. The key is going to be executing consistently with these small steps and consistent steps to ultimately reach that goal. So how do we get started real quick? Day 1 and day 2. Let's talk about the fats and the oils. We want to increase that. We want to avoid carbs like pasta, potato, and bread. So we want you to eat the eggs. We want the fatty cheeses versus the low-fat cheese. We want the nuts. We want the marbled meats, the sausage, the oily fish to kind of get that load in our body prepared for our next couple of days and beyond. We want to increase our protein. So the 4 ounces for dinner as well as lunch. We don't necessarily want any increased added fat at this particular time. We want to increase our vegetables. Great for snacks throughout the day, whether they're steamed or they're raw. They give us that sense of fullness. And more importantly, nobody's ever, gained a bunch of weight from eating, celery or broccoli or carrots. Fruit, great time to do those is at near the end of the work day if you're doing the 8 to 5. Why? Instead of, pounding in a 5-hour energy, consider a piece of fruit at that particular time. It allows us to be rewarded. It helps us get full. And at 9 p.m., for those individuals who have, highs and lows with their insulin overnight, this is a great way to keep that insulin the same. And so we don't get these, crashes of calories and low energy states. So, hey guys, that's been a quick summary of how to maximize our results and get our best return on the investment. So real quick, hey, if you're not exercising, don't start. If you are exercising, maintain your exercise pattern. Number 2, drink the water or the non-caloric intake. Remember, make sure you're drinking very much so it's almost clear when you're going to the bathroom. Make sure that you know to whatever nutritional program you're on, your fasting, your keto, or the one that we talked about. Just be consistent with it, and you will see you will get the shrinkage factor. Remember, the proteins that you're eating, they are essentially, especially at the beginning, you're going to have these larger portions. But because you're on the semaglutide that gives you that sensation of full, you're going to notice those portions decreasing. So you're already basically eating healthier, eating cleaner. You're also going to be eating smaller. So that allows us to shrink. So you're not going to see necessarily pounds on the scale jump off real quick, but you are going to get the opportunity to see those clothes fitting better. So, hey, we hope to see you soon. Click on the buttons below to schedule your virtual. Call us if you have any questions. But whatever you do, get started, be consistent, and we hope to see you soon. Have a good one, guys.